Joining us now, Mitch Modell, Modell Sporting Goods CEO, and Ross Gerber, Gerber Kawasaki CEO. Mitch, you're in the thick of it. You hire people all the time. You're right there at the retail spot, so you understand Main Street, you understand business. What went wrong with this report?
Well, the market was expecting 220,000 additional jobs, and only 170,000 were posted. I think what the problem is that a lot of employers, such as ourselves and a lot of people I speak to, are hiring a lot of part-timers and not full-timers due to Obamacare and a lot of the cost associated with full-time associates.
To your point, the audience should know that last month, 158,000 more people said, listen, I'm working part-time because of the economy. I want full-time work. That brings the number close to 6.5 million. Mitch, I guess your hands are tied, though, as an employer. You've got to deal with these regulations. You've got to deal with Obamacare. And I would also think maybe these forced higher minimum wages as well.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, we got to be fiscally responsible. And we work within a framework of payroll dollars. So, I applaud the fact that, our associates are going to make, a higher minimum wage. But at the end of the day, we wind up cutting hours of either part-time associates, or if someone leaves the company, we might not replace that person, or obviously, look to see how we reduce tasks, because employees just can't keep absorbing these high costs.
And I guess, Ross, this is the thing. I don't know the planning or the politics of it, but it does seem to me that the knowledge of it, or the common sense of it, always says if a business has X amount of money to use for its employees, if you force them to spread it out, to pay out more, they're going to end up hiring less. It just seems common sense, and now we're starting to see this come through.
Absolutely.
Well, I think there's a lot of truth to that.
Go ahead, Ross.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that in that, look, we're going to spend a certain amount on employees, and then we're going to also look at our sales ratio. And if that doesn't work out, it's like, why would I add a full-time employee? And you're right about the cost, because it's not just health insurance costs that have gone up, but what about workers' comp? In California here, I have employees that sit behind a desk and work on computers, and I'm paying tens of thousands in just workers' comp for each employee. So there's definitely advantages to keeping people part-time versus full-time, and I think a lot of employers are doing that.
Ross, to your point, people should know that we've talked about this and we've educated the audience about the U6 number, which is a better reflection of the actual unemployment. Right now, that number is at 10.2%, still double-digit. But I got to tell you, it's the best of the Obama recovery. However, the Bush recovery saw it go to 7.7%, and Bill Clinton actually saw it go to 6.8%. What's the difference? Why doesn't the Obama recovery get the kind of traction that these previous presidents had? Ross?
I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing right now is a change with the sharing economy. I can't tell you how many people are driving for Uber for extra money, and that doesn't show in any number or report. How many people are Airbnb-ing extra rooms just to make extra money? So we have a different economy now where people are making less money and they're also working less, but they're making up somehow through different types of things like sharing their homes with strangers. So it's kind of sad what's happening in America, because the traditional full-time employment, other than in the public sector, is sort of dying.
Well, I think what's also dying, Mitch, is that old school sort of, I want to get out there and I want to hustle, and I'm not going to quibble about how much I make as long as I can get in the job market and make something. Last month our population went up over 200,000, but 41,000 people left the labor force. This is a trend that's gone on for years. What is the dynamic? I mean, you talk to a lot of young people, they work for you. What is it that you're seeing, though, with these kids or these young adults, particularly who are dropping out of the workforce? What do you think is motivating them to do that?
Well, a lot of them go on unemployment insurance, and sometimes you can make more or just as much getting unemployment insurance than you are getting a paycheck.
Mitch, what would you do? How would you handle this if you had the ear of the president or the powers that be? And you're in the thick of it. You are Main Street. Modell's, for people who don't have a Modell's near them, is ubiquitous in this whole tri-state New York area. Everyone goes there. You take your kids there. You buy sporting equipment there. It's been around since I was a kid. By the way, thank you very much, because I was able to buy those off-brand Pumas and not get beat up in my own neighborhood for wearing skips. I want to thank you and everyone who came before you. But what do you tell the powers that be on how to turn this around?
Listen, I would go to, if I had a chance to talk to the president, I would ask how the federal government give businesses incentive tax credits where we can invest back into our business. For example, as it relates to Modell's, if there was an investment tax credit and we were able to, renovate our stores, fix up our stores, put new lights, new flooring, the ripple effect that this would have in all jobs would be incredible. But that's not the case. They're all about a public relations that really is not a reality.
Right. Ross, to that point, I think you hear some politicians on both sides of the aisle that do talk about an employment tax credit. We do see that credit going higher and higher and higher to help make ends meet for people who are in the lower end of the economic ladder, if you will. But it does nothing in terms of incentivizing businesses to hire.
Absolutely. And I don't need a tax credit because I'm running a growing business and I don't have big profits to write it off. What I need is less regulation to do businesses. Like, I just got a bill from the state of New York for some taxes because we did a little business in New York 1 year and we have to file all these taxes and forms just for the one client we have in New York. It's ridiculous to do business in New York. So, we need to look at businesses and say, look at the regulation process, like in the city of LA, if you want to build a building and create jobs, it's a crazy process. Our government is hurting businesses and they are doing nothing to make it easier for small, medium, and large-sized businesses to grow. And when are they going to do something to help me? I'm hiring people.